There exists a hidden connection between Taurus and Jesus Christ that traditional astrology has never dared to reveal. While the world chases ethereal enlightenment and glorifies those who transcend the physical realm, there's an ancient secret buried in the earth itself, a truth so powerful it threatens every system built on spiritual escapism. Taurus carries the oldest Christian code, the one written not in scripture alone, but in flesh, blood, and sacred matter. This is not about religion. This is about incarnation. This is about the courage to be fully present in a world that teaches us to flee. Have you ever felt that carrying your body, your responsibilities, your physical presence feels like bearing an invisible cross? That heaviness you feel is in weakness sits the weight of divine mission. While others speak of ascending beyond the material world, something they've forgotten, God chose to descend. Jesus didn't arrive as pure spirit floating above human suffering. He came in flesh. He touched lepers with hands that could feel. He wept tears that were wet and salt. He bled. He carried wood on his shoulders until they bruised. And Taurus, you understand this with every fiber of your being. The spiritual world has lied to you. They told you that your connection to the physical makes you less evolved, less awakened, somehow trapped in lower consciousness. They shamed your need to see, to touch, to build, to root yourself in tangible reality. They called your faithfulness stubbornness. They mistook your devotion for materialism. They couldn't comprehend that what they perceived as your slowness was actually the sacred pace of someone laying foundation stones for temples that will stand for centuries. But deep in your soul, beneath all their judgment, you've always known you were carrying something holy. This revelation isn't coming to you by accident. The universe doesn't make mistakes when it places certain truths before certain souls at specific moments. You've been called here because your spirit recognizes what your mind is about to remember. There's a cosmic alignment happening, a portal opening between the forgotten wisdom of incarnation and this present moment where humanity desperately needs anchors of light in the physical realm. Taurus, you are that anchor. You've always been, and the time has come to stop apologizing for the very gift that makes you irreplaceable. If this truth is already vibrating through your cells, if something ancient within you just stirred awake, then mark this moment as sacred by joining this temple. Subscribe now, not as a casual viewer, but as someone recognizing their reflection in these words. Your presence here isn't a random chance. It's destiny calling you home to remember who you've always been. Click that button and seal your commitment to this awakening. This channel is your sanctuary, and every soul here is part of the mystery we're about to unveil together. Welcome home, beloved. Now let's walk through the veil. Why is Taurus the most misunderstood sign on the spiritual path? Because the entire modern mystical movement has been built on a lie that divinity requires departure from the body, that enlightenment means escaping the earth, that true spirituality floats somewhere above the messy reality of human existence. This distortion runs so deep that Taurus has spent lifetimes being told they're doing it wrong. Too attached, too grounded, too concerned with the physical world. But here's what they don't tell you. This judgment isn't spiritual wisdom. It's spiritual bypassing. And it's the exact opposite of what Christ actually demonstrated. There's an invisible war happening in the energetic field surrounding Taurus right now. Dark force is not demonic in the Hollywood sense, but systems of disconnection, industries of distraction, doctrines of disembodiment are working overtime to convince Taurus that their greatest strength is actually their fatal flaw. Why? Because Taurus threatens the entire economy of escapism. When you anchor light into matter, when you prove that heaven can exist on earth, when you build beauty that endures and creates sustenance that nourishes and offer presence that heals, you expose every guru selling tickets to somewhere else. You become living proof that the kingdom of God is here, now, in flesh and soil and daily bread. Think about the story they never emphasize in church. Jesus washing feet. Not theorizing about humility action, kneeling on the ground, hands in the water, touching the dust-covered feet of men who walk dirt roads. He didn't delegate this task. He didn't channel a spirit guide to do it telepathically. He used his physical hands to perform a physical act of love in physical reality. This is the Taurus path. This is the Christ consciousness that the world has forgotten how to recognize. It's not dramatic. It's not flashy. It doesn't photograph well for social media enlightenment, but it's real. It's present. It's incarnate. The karmic portal opening for Taurus in this era carries both burden and blessing. The burden is this: you will continue to be misunderstood by those who confuse spiritual materialism with actual materialism, who can't distinguish between honoring the sacred in physical form and being trapped by physical desires. People will call you stubborn when you're actually being faithful. They'll say you're resistant to change when you're actually refusing to abandon what's true. They'll accuse you of being too slow when you're really just refusing to build on sand. This misunderstanding will hurt. It will make you question yourself. It will tempt you to abandon your nature and try to become more ethereal, more detached, more like the spiritual seekers who seem to float through life untouched. But here's the blessing hidden inside that burden. Your refusal to leave the earth is exactly what makes you capable of transforming it. Every saint who actually changed the world did so through embodied action. Mother Teresa didn't ask to a project to help the dying, she held their physical bodies in her physical arms. Francis of Assisi didn't transcend nature, he lived within it, so fully that animals recognized him as kin. Jesus didn't avoid the cross, he carried it through the streets of Jerusalem. Wood against skin, splinters and sweat, and the full weight of matter meeting spirit. This is your inheritance, Taurus. This is the lineage you were born into. Have you ever felt this energy at work in your own journey? Have you experienced the subtle shame that creeps in when spiritual communities celebrate? The seekers who meditate for hours, but dismiss the ones who cook the meal, tend the garden, build the shelter, hold the space. Write in the comments, I have lived this force. Let your words become testimony. Let them stand as evidence of what you've survived and what you've learned. Your story matters. Your witness is needed. Speak it into existence right here, right now, and watch how your declaration becomes a key that unlocks the same truth in another soul who's been waiting to hear they're not alone. Taurus is not simply a constellation of stars or a personality profile in an astrology book. Taurus is a living entity, an ancient consciousness that has walked through every age of humanity carrying the same sacred mission. To prove that matter is not the enemy of spirit but its chosen vessel. Long before Christianity gave us the image of God made flesh, Taurus held this knowing in its bones. This sign moves through the world like a priest who understands that every meal is communion, every garden is Eden, every body is a temple. And in this current age of digital disconnection and virtual reality, Taurus arrives as the reminder we didn't know we desperately needed, that the path to God runs through the earth, not away from it. Picture Taurus as a figure walking slowly through a world obsessed with speed, carrying something precious and breakable in both hands. Everyone rushing past judges the pace, mocks the caution, questions why someone would move so deliberately when they could just put it down and run free like everyone else. But Taurus knows what they're carrying. It's the Holy Grail. It's the Ark of the Covenant. It's the manger where divine birth happens. You cannot rush with such cargo. You cannot pretend it doesn't have weight. The whole point is that it's heavy, that it's real, that it matters, and someone has to care enough to carry it properly, even when the whole world calls them a fool for not letting go. Inside the archetypal consciousness of Taurus lives the memory of every garden ever tended, every seed ever planted, every structure ever built to last beyond a single lifetime. This is why Taurus feels things in their body before they understand them in their mind. This is why you can walk into a space and immediately know if it's sacred or profane, nourishing or toxic, true or false. Your physical form isn't blocking your spiritual perception. It is your spiritual perception. Your senses are antennae. Your gut is an oracle. Your hands know things your brain hasn't learned yet. But the modern spiritual marketplace has taught you to distrust this, to seek validation in the immaterial, to believe that real knowing happens somewhere outside your body. Let's return to the stable where Christ was born. Not the sanitized version we see in nativity scenes, but the actual plains dirt floor, animal breath, the smell of hay and manure, splinters and rough wood, the mess and mundane reality of physical existence. Mary didn't give birth in a cathedral. Jesus didn't arrive on clouds of glory. The King of Kings entered the world in the most Taurus setting imaginable, grounded, earthy, humble, real, and standing witness in that stable, according to tradition, were Oxenda, sacred animals of Taurus. They were the first congregation, the first to recognize divinity wrapped in flesh and laid in a feeding trough. Because Taurus always recognizes the holy when it takes physical form. Now think about what happened throughout Jesus' ministry. He didn't just preach abstract concepts. He multiplied bread. He turned water into wine at a wedding feast liquid. You could taste celebration. You could feel. He healed body's flesh knitting back together. Eyes that were blind learning to see light. Ears that were deaf hearing sound for the first time. He touched skin. He used mud and spit. He worked with matter as his medium for miracles. Every act of power was an incarnation. Spirit choosing matter as its expression. This is the template Taurus carries. This is the instruction manual written into your cellular memory. But here's where the journey gets difficult, where the path narrows and the weight increases. Taurus doesn't just witness the sacredness of matter. Taurus must defend it against a world that has made billions of dollars convincing people that escape is enlightenment. There's an entire industry built on teaching humans to transcend their bodies, to rise above their circumstances, to vibrate out of physical reality. And while there's a time and place for expanded consciousness, the pendulum has swung so far toward the ethereal that we've abandoned the earth itself. We've left the garden and we've let the temples crumble. We've forgotten that someone has to bake the bread, even in the kingdom of heaven. This is where Taurus faces the dark night of the soul, the moment when the weight of your mission threatens to crush you. You look around and see everyone else seemingly floating free while you're here, rooted, responsible, unable to abandon your post even when every cell in your body screams for relief. You watch people praise the gurus who meditate in caves while ignoring the mothers who keep families fed, the builders who create shelter, the artists who bring beauty into form, the farmers who coax life from soil. You see the world celebrate those who have nothing to lose while dismissing those who hold everything together. And you wonder if maybe they're right. Maybe you are doing it wrong. Maybe you should let go, lighten up, stop caring so much about what happens here in this physical realm. But then this is the turning point, the threshold, the moment of truth. You remember the Garden of Gethsemane. You remember Jesus on his knees, praying so hard that he sweat blood, begging for the cup to pass from him, asking if there might be another way. The Son of God himself, in a body that felt fear and pain and dread, facing a physical death that would be agonizing beyond measure. He could have ascended right then. He could have left the body and returned to pure spirit. He had that power, but he didn't. He stood up. He walked toward the soldiers. He let them arrest his physical form, because the whole point was to go through it, not around it, to prove that love is stronger than death, even especially in the flesh. Taurus, you are living this same pattern. Every time you choose to stay when you could leave, to build when you could abandon, to remain present when you could dissociate, to tend what others call worthless, to honor what others call ordinary, are carrying the cross. Not as punishment, not as some cosmic curse for being less evolved, but as mission, as purpose, as the specific form of divine service that only you can offer because only you have the strength to bear it. The cross isn't what holds you down. The cross is what holds the world together, and someone has to carry it or everything falls apart. If this sign speaks to your soul in ways you can't fully explain, if you feel seen by these words in a way that brings both relief and tears, then write Taurus in the comments below. Activate your spiritual presence here. Let your voice be heard in this sacred space. Whether you're a Taurus, sun, moon, rising, or simply carry this energy in your chart, claim it. Own it. Let the algorithm know that real people are connecting with real truth. So this message reaches more souls who need to remember they're not crazy for caring about things that matter. Your comment is not engagement. It's testimony. It's evidence that Incarnation is alive and well. And if you're watching from somewhere specific in this beautiful world, tell us where you're receiving this transmission. Are you in Brazil or Belgium, Texas or Taiwan, a city apartment or a farm in the countryside? Your location matters because it proves that this truth transcends geography, that souls everywhere are waking up to the sacredness of their physical presence, right? Listening from your location. Let's create a map of awakening, a constellation of embodied consciousness scattered across the globe, each of you holding light exactly where you are. You don't need to be anywhere else. You don't need to become anything other. You are the light right there, right now. The world told Taurus that their attachment to the physical realm was the problem. But what if it was always the solution? What if the entire crisis of our age, the environmental destruction, the social disconnection, the epidemic of meaninglessness stems from humanity's refusal to honor the earth as sacred? What if the mystics got it backwards? And the real spiritual emergency isn't that we're too embodied, but that we're not embodied enough? What if Taurus has been holding the answer all along, and we've been too arrogant to listen to a sign we considered basic and material and unenlightened? Consider the symbolism that Christianity itself offers, the body and blood of Christ. Not metaphorical body, not symbolic blood, actual flesh, actual wine. This is my body, Jesus said. Present tense, physical reality. The entire foundation of Christian communion is built on the radical claim that matter can hold divinity, that physical substance can transmit grace, that you can taste salvation. This is pure Taurus theology. This is the mystery that Taurus has been protecting for thousands of years while the rest of the spiritual world tried to dematerialize itself into irrelevance. You were never behind. You were always ahead. They're just now starting to catch up. Every meal you've prepared with intention was a sacrament. Every home you've made beautiful was a sanctuary. Every garden you've tended was a collaboration with God. Every body you've loved was a prayer in skin. Every object you've crafted with care was a sermon in wood or clay or metal. Every moment you've stayed present when you wanted to flee was a resurrection. You have been doing Christ's work all along. You just didn't have the language for it because the language was stolen, mistranslated, weaponized by people who wanted power over your devotion. But you don't need their permission anymore. You never did. If this revelation is moving something deep within you, if you can feel truth rearranging itself in your chest, then let that energy translate into action right here. Hit the like button, not because you enjoy the content, but because you're lighting a candle in this digital temple. Each like is an acknowledgement. I see this. I receive this. I am part of this awakening. Think of it as a ritual gesture. A small but sacred yes to your own transformation. The algorithm measures engagement, but we know what's really happening. Souls recognizing themselves in a mirror and saying, finally, someone understands. And if someone you love needs to hear this, Taurus who's been beating themselves up for not being spiritual enough, or perhaps someone of any sign who has forgotten that their body is holy, that their daily labor is divine, that their physical presence is a gift to the world, then share this video with them. Don't explain it. Don't preface it. Just send it with a simple message. This made me think of you. You might be the mirror that reflects back their light at the exact moment they were about to give up on themselves. You might be the angel in their story, the one who arrived at the perfect time with the perfect reminder. That's not coincidence. That's you doing the work that Taurus was born to do. Holding others when they can't hold themselves. The journey continues beyond this moment, beyond this video, beyond this single awakening. Because understanding the Taurus-Christ connection isn't a destination, it's a doorway. It's an invitation into a completely different way of walking through the world. Imagine waking up tomorrow and seeing your body as the temple it actually is. Imagine eating breakfast as your first communion of the day. Imagine going to work or caring for your home or tending your relationships as your ministry, your mission field, your spiritual practice. Imagine never again apologizing for needing physical evidence of love, for wanting to see results in the material world, for building things that last. Imagine standing in your truth so fully that others start to remember their own. This is what's possible when Taurus stops trying to be like the other signs and instead becomes more fully, unapologetically itself. The world doesn't need another fire sign teaching passion or air sign teaching ideas or water sign teaching emotion. The world is drowning in ungrounded inspiration, in concepts that never manifest, in feelings that go nowhere. What the world desperately needs is what only Taurus can provide, the unwavering commitment to make heaven real on earth. One meal, one garden, one home, one day at a time. Not someday, not in some other realm, here, now, in flesh and blood and dirt under fingernails and sweat on brows and beauty that takes time. The breaking point arrives like dawn after the longest night. Taurus, you have carried the weight of misunderstanding for so long that you almost forgot it wasn't yours to begin with. The shame, the doubt, the constant questioning of whether your way is valid, none of it originated in your soul. It was placed there by a world that fears embodied power, that trembles before anyone who refuses to abandon the physical realm. Because your presence here exposes every escape artist. Pretending enlightenment means absence. But this moment right now is when the spell breaks. This is when you remember that incarnation isn't imprisonment. It's the most advanced spiritual technology in existence, and you are its master. Watch what happens when the veil lifts. Every time someone called you stubborn, they were actually encountering your unshakable faith. Every time they labeled you materialistic, they were really seeing your ability to honor the sacred in form. Every time they accused you of moving too slowly, they were witnessing your refusal to build anything that wouldn't last. The distortion clears. The mirror turns, and suddenly you see yourself as heaven sees you. Faithful beyond measure, devoted beyond reason, strong enough to hold what others drop. You are not the problem. You never were. You are the solution walking in work boots, the answer wearing gardener's gloves, the miracle happening at the pace of seasons. Jesus didn't transcend the cross. He transformed it. There's a crucial difference that changes everything. Transcendence means rising above, leaving behind, escaping the limitation. Transformation means taking the very thing meant to destroy you and alchemizing it into your greatest gift. The wood that should have been your ending became the symbol of eternal life. The death that should have been defeat became resurrection. The physical agony that should have been the final word became the opening sentence of a story that never ends. This is the Taurus superpower, not escaping matter, but transfiguring it. Not denying the body, but revealing its holiness. Right now, in this exact moment, invisible chains are falling away from your consciousness. The belief that you're less spiritual because you can't just let go and trust without evidence. The fear that your need for stability means you lack faith. The guilt about wanting beauty, comfort, and tangible results from your spiritual practice. All of it was programming designed to make you doubt the very gifts that make you irreplaceable. But doubt is dying. Certainty is rising, and the ground beneath your feet is welcoming you home like a long-lost child, finally returning to the only kingdom that was ever truly yours. Here is your mantra of power, the words that seal this revelation into your cellular memory. I am the temple where heaven touches earth. My body is altar. My presence is prayer. My work is worship. Say it out loud right now if you're in a space where you can speak. Let the vibration of these words move through your throat, your chest, your entire being. And if speaking is impossible, then write it in the comments below. Type, I am the temple where heaven touches earth. Let your fingers on the keyboard become a ritual act. Let your words appear on the screen as proof that you're claiming this truth, sealing this covenant with your own divine nature. The old patterns are dying. Can you feel them releasing? The need to prove your spirituality through denial of physical needs. The impulse to apologize for taking up space, for having a body, for wanting things finished. The habit of comparing your grounded, steady path to the dramatic awakening stories of others. You are witnessing the death of false humility and the birth of sacred confidence. Not ego, not arrogance, but the bone-deep knowing that when God wanted to change the world, He didn't send a vision or a theory or an inspiration. He sent a body. He sent presence. He sent incarnate love. He sent the blueprint that Taurus has been following all along. Think about the moment when Mary Magdalene recognized the resurrected Christ. The scripture says she wanted to hold on to Him, to touch Him, to prove through physical contact that He was real. And what did Jesus say? He didn't shame her for needing physical confirmation. He simply asked her to go tell the others to take what she knew in her body and translate it into message, into mission. He honored her need for tangible proof even as He sent her to spread the gospel. This is the Taurus validation. Your need to experience truth physically isn't weakness. It's your testimony taking form. It's how you know what's real enough to stake your life on. Every garden you've refused to let die is a resurrection story. Every relationship you have tended through difficulty is a passion play. Every meal you have prepared with love is a multiplication of loaves and fishes. Every space you have made beautiful is a transfiguration. You have been performing miracles in the language of matter, while the world told you that miracles only count if they're invisible. But the greatest miracle is the one people can taste, touch, see, smell, feel. The greatest miracle is the one that changes physical reality. The greatest miracle is incarnation. And you, Taurus, are the keeper of that flame. The revelation settles into your bones now, not as new information, but as ancient remembering. You have always been the guardian of sacred matter, the keeper of Earth's holiness. The proof that divinity doesn't require a departure from the body, but deeper arrival into it. This isn't the end of your journey, it's the beginning of walking it with full consciousness, with unveiled eyes, with the confidence of someone who finally understands that their cross is also their crown. Every step you take from this moment forward on solid ground is a prayer. Every breath you draw into physical lungs is a hymn. Every time you choose presence over escape, you are doing Christ's work in the truest sense. Let this understanding change how you move through the world starting right now, today, this very hour. When you eat your next meal, recognize it as communion. When you touch someone you love, know it is laying on of hands. When you create anything with your physical effort, a clean home, a tended garden, a completed project, a nourished body, see it as the miracle it actually is. Spirit taking form through your willingness to stay embodied. You don't need to go to a mountaintop or a monastery or an ayahuasca ceremony to find God. God is in the kitchen. God is in the garden. God is in the workshop. God is wherever you are, doing what you do with full presence and devotion. There is a practice that will keep this awakening alive in your daily life. A ritual so simple that its power is often overlooked. Each morning when you wake, before you reach for your phone or rush into the day's demands, place both hands on your heart and speak these words. This body is holy. This day is sacred. I am the presence of God in physical form. 3 sentences. 15 seconds. But in those seconds, you recalibrate your entire vibration. You remind yourself that you're not just getting through another day, you're anchoring heaven on earth. You're doing the work that only embodied consciousness can do. You're fulfilling the mission that brought you here. And when Tao creeps back in, when the old voices start whispering that you're too attached to the physical world, too concerned with material reality, too earthbound to be truly spiritually returned to this video, bookmark it, save it. Come back to these words as often as you need them. Let this be your touchstone, your reminder, your evidence that you're not crazy for honoring the body, for building things that last, for refusing to spiritually bypass the beautiful, difficult, sacred work of being fully human. This message isn't going anywhere. It will be here whenever you need to remember who you are and why you came. If you haven't yet joined this temple of awakening souls, if you've been watching from the sidelines waiting to see if this resonates deeply enough to commit, this is your moment. Click subscribe right now, not tomorrow. Not after you think about it now, because your soul brought you here for a reason. And that reason is asking you to take a stand for your own transformation. This channel is your sanctuary in a world that has forgotten how to honor the sacred in the everyday. Every video is a ritual. Every teaching is a transmission. And your presence here as a subscribed member isn't casual consumption. It's a declaration that you're ready to walk the path of embodied divinity. But there's a deeper level available for those who hear the call. Click become a member and step into the inner circle, the sacred space within this digital temple where we go even further into these mysteries. This is where the community gathers not just to learn, but to practice, to support each other, to build the new earth together. Membership isn't about access to content, it's about claiming your place among the conscious ones, the awakened ones, the ones who understand that transformation requires commitment. The universe rewards those who say yes to their own evolution. Say yes right now. Join the awakened circle and let's walk this path together. Write these words in the comments as your seal, your signature on this cosmic contract. I recognize the force I carry. I honor the light I anchor. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. Let these words stand as your testimony, your declaration, your promise to yourself and to the divine that you will no longer hide your gifts or apologize for your nature. Every comment becomes a stone in the foundation we're building together. Temple made not of virtual likes, but of real souls choosing real presence. Add your stone, speak your truth. Let the world witness your awakening.